Today on Food News and Chews, Chef Jeremy and Sylvia get a crash course in canning at the Jackson County Regional Food Center and find out how Lucky Clover Farm uses the center to make their jams and jellies. Then Chef Jeremy makes fried pickles with a pickle remoulade. That's today on Food News and Chews.
Food News and Chews is brought to you by these proud sponsors. Alltech, helping farmers feed the world. Azure Restaurant and Patio, worldly influenced, locally inspired. Sullivan University, offering higher education for people with higher goals. Azure Catering, catering the most important events, yours. Critchfield Meats, fresh, high-quality, all-natural meats, guaranteed.
Hey, Jer.
Yeah.
We are going to have some fun today.
Of course.
Yep. But let me begin with this, and I'm going to tell you in about a second what I know about this.
Okay, what?
But I do know that food waste and thus preservation of food has become a big deal with consumers, with wasting, what is the statistic? 40% of our food in this country.
That's not even, I mean, that's this country alone. I mean,
Yeah.
Most developed countries have so much food waste.
Yeah.
It's beyond, I mean, it's hard to think about.
Like the net production of food in the sub-Saharan African continent, we waste that much food, which is unbelievable. And there's a lot of food there that just doesn't make it out of the field. Ours doesn't make it.
So many
out of
hungry
the
people,
restaurant.
even in this country,
Yeah.
not to mention other countries and parts of the world, and we're throwing 40% of our food away.
And consumers are becoming more aware of that. I mean,
I think
serving
so.
small restaurants are serving small
Oh.
plates.
Right. Well, I think the appetite is, overall, I think that people are starting to think about food differently. We've had it so good for so long in this country. We've had the cheapest food of any country in the world forever. And now, because of economic, problems, or maybe, we've talked about maybe grain prices going up, or, anything like
Or
that.
just more awareness because
And
of
food's-
the recession that we've gone through. The
Exactly.
Great Recession.
So food is getting more expensive,
Yeah.
and people are paying more attention to it. So, I think that's probably a good key factor. And okay, now that we maybe are growing a little bit of our own food, or we're buying food, it's more expensive, then we'll be more conscious about wasting
And
it.
that's not all bad. But let me, as I understand it, Chef, and I understand very little about this, but here's the deal. The idea behind preserving food in the ways that we have now to do that is to slow down the activity of bacteria, if not to kill it, because all food has those nasty little bugs in it. Okay, so here's what the rest of what I know. I know you can, you can dehydrate, you can freeze dry, you can irradiate, you can do chemical, you can do, what am I leaving out here? That's probably just about covers it, canning.
You smoke.
Smokehouses in
enzymatic
Eastern
kind
Kentucky.
of,
You smoke food that's usually salted.
And that's it's a combination.
Ubiquitous smokehouse kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have all of that possibility. And tell me about all of those things. What canning is supposed to be like, canning or freezing?
Let's just go down your list. Canning is probably the oldest or most practical form that we know, especially in our region. I mean, it's a kind of a practice of people in our area that grew their own food. They had to keep it through the winter time. So canning is a great process.
And they learned how to seal it and do all that stuff.
So sealing and canning things and putting them in the cupboard for the winter time is common practice. So is the enzymatic thing you're talking about, which is more like the salting.
Yeah.
And there's curing salts, there's regular salts, and they do different things. But most people around here just use regular, just like a high, like a River Valley kind of salt, or a bulk
What's the
salt.
difference?
I mean, salt itself is sodium chloride, NaCl. There's really no difference between that's the same salt as it's a chemical compound. There's nothing you can do about it. That's what makes salt.
It draws out the moisture. Is that what it does?
But there's a nitrate salt too that's used, and those are used when you're kind of like curing something that's like a
bacon.
sausage,
Or bacon.
or well, bacon can be cured with just regular salt and no nitrates.
I've seen that lately on bacon packages.
No nitrates.
Uncured, it says.
Oh, uncured. So that's
Yeah.
just raw bacon without
Yeah.
any salt on it.
Okay.
Maybe they put some smoke on it, but raw bacon is just the belly itself. It's not been cured.
That you can't keep for as long as you
It doesn't
can.
last very long at
with
all.
nitrates,
Yeah. So it's like any other piece of meat
But a
in the
lot of
fridge.
health issues with nitrates, I guess I understand.
So-
And freezing is probably the second most prevalent form of food preservation, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, we use freezing all the time, whether you're just preserving a piece of meat, but even vegetables you can freeze. In fact, I'm a big fan of frozen vegetables over canned. I think the flavor
In fact, they
retention
say,
is
yeah,
better.
And they say that the vitamin retention can be
Right.
better.
Have you ever looked at a bag of frozen vegetables?
Yeah.
If you look,
Yeah,
it'd be
I have
like
occasionally.
corn, and it'll look in the bag, and
Yeah.
the ingredients will be like corn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. A can may have like corn with
Blah,
the
blah,
sodium
blah,
solution,
and all
water
those,
added, and stuff.
I know
Who knows?
A8s and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Hey, why
No
don't
E8s.
whatever they are. Hey, let's do a field trip and find out a little bit more. And I asked in the mail to be sent some things, and we're going to find out about the Food Systems Innovation Center,
Yeah,
which is
okay.
out of UK. This is an amazing thing.
Yes.
And the county extension office is amazing. But more importantly, what they also sent me,
Yes.
you can get me this for Christmas. Leak and Spill magazine.
I need to get
I
that
do a
for you
lot of
and my 2-year-old son. I think that's like the theme of his life right
I mean,
now.
I love this. The world's most absorbent mat. I can't wait.
Yeah,
to read
that's a
about
good
it.
one. I want to see that publication, Sylvia. We got to get you a subscription to that one. Anyway, yeah, let's go check out how we do canning at extension centers and have some development to teach people how to do food preservation the right way, the safe way.
Safe is important in this too.
Yeah,
At the
and-
end of the day, they have to go.
Right.
seal 'em.
That's the Sylvia's technical term for when the jar seals itself and it's
It's
vacuum
important.
sealed.
Okay, let's go. Jackson County Regional Food Center. Here we come. Hey, Jer,
Yes.
you're really cute in that, but Mary and I are even cuter.
Oh, no, man, these hairnets. Look at part of it, right?
I love it. Hey, field trip.
I know.
We arrived, and we went the scenic route.
Yes, we did. All the way down to Jackson, right?
Yeah, there's a song in there somewhere
Yeah,
about
right.
Jackson.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, on the way to. Anyway, Jeremy, tell us where we are. I've landed in Oz. I
Well,
think.
this is the extension center, right? But it's Jackson County Regional Food Center. These guys are actually doing something quite unique.
And this is Mary Carpenter.
Hi, Maya.
She's got a great big job here too, Jer.
Right. She is the kitchen manager, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she gets to kind of herd the cats that come in here and try to get all their stuff ready to go and put on the shelves, right?
How
Yes.
many of these are there? Because this is a regional kitchen. There's an extension agent in every
Yes.
county, but not a regional kitchen.
I'm thinking this is one of the only in Kentucky. I
Okay.
think there's another one in Ohio. We have all the licenses and we can walk. If you was to come in here with Grandma's recipe, we can walk you through the steps to get the recipe approved and filed, and then you get your label approved. We walk through each individual step.
Here, I'm between two master culinary artists, okay? We have Claire Kincaid here, and Jeremy, you guys gonna dig in and
Did they tell you we're
give
going
us
to do a
this stuff?
cook-off? We're going to...
Oh, no, they didn't tell me that.
So in this recipe, we used fresh tomatoes, green peppers, onions, and we also used garlic and cilantro. And
Is that what you're
yes,
using?
this is the recipe. It's zesty salsa, and it's a recipe through UK. And this one's already completed, but you would put all your ingredients together, and then you simmer that. You boil it and then simmer it for 10 minutes.
No, the jars, they come in sterile. Do you have to sterilize them again?
Oh, thank you for mentioning that. You do need to wash all your jars with hot soapy water. And now if you process them over 10 minutes, you don't need to boil them.
Okay.
So now if they're going to be processed less than 10 minutes, you need to boil those jars in your water bath. So now I'm just filling the jars with the hot salsa.
See, I need one of those little lid thing. I mean, or spouts. I would make a mess with this entire process.
Yeah, it's kind of a funnel without a tiny bottom.
And then they have a handy dandy tool, and it shows you the 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch. And that's important when you can, because you have to have certain headspace for each different product. And then what you want to do is take a wet cloth and make sure you have all your, that this is free of any debris. And you would have a hot lid, and you put your lid, yeah, it has to be in boiling water.
Okay.
Or actually it has to be in hot water.
And that gets it
And
hot.
this is sterilized as well too. And then you just,
Put it on.
you just tighten it.
And when does it go?
That's when you, that's the end product. The next piece, you put it in your water bath canner, and you would look at your process time. Now for this product, they say 15 minutes in the water bath. And then once your water bath is done, you would take it out. You sit your water bath canner over on the side, and 5 minutes later you take your can out, and then you sit it on a towel, and you let that sit for 10 to 12 hours. And at home you'll hear that throughout the day. So you'll hear that still.
I'm gonna find the technical term.
Here with Gina Mitchell. I love that name. It just rolls off the tongue. And you had to change your name to be Joey Farmer. Hey, Jeremy, they are partners. Lucky Clover Farm.
I know, right actually in the heart or the kitchen, the place that I feel most comfortable in, the extension center here, the food center. And these guys are in full production. I mean, your farm, you're growing stuff, and now you're in here for second process to get this on some shelves, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what you guys make.
Yeah. You rent this place too. I mean, you are
It's
here.
an hourly rental,
Yeah.
so we can make various products all at the same time. We started out with jams and jellies, just basic wild blackberry jam was probably the first product we ever made, and then we moved into caramel apple jam and
Peach jalapeno jelly. We did cantaloupe preserves, strawberry jam.
after we fill the jars with our hot product, we put it in this hot bath water, which covers these two-part old-fashioned jar lids, at least by 1 inch of water, 220 degrees, and then we'll let them cool off before we package them up, and we'll take them home. Sometimes we label here, but most of the times we label off premises, which is kind of easy for us.
Machine, or do you do?
Yes, that's me. I am the automatic label machine.
Yeah.
We have our new product. It's hemp and honey roasted granola.
Yes.
And it's local honey, Kentucky honey that we use. And soon we're going to be having our Kentucky hemp as well.
Nice.
So, and it is delicious.
I'm
You're
at.
getting right in style.
Yes, yes. We're just working on the packaging and the labeling, but I think we're almost done with that. So it should be hitting shelves hopefully by this weekend.
How did you get to a farm in Madison County named Lucky Clover?
He had the name picked out years ago when he just wanted a name to his farm, and I found it on eBay.
So you guys, so you started out, you know, with an ag degree, is that correct?
Didn't have a degree, went to Moorhead, lived on the university farm back in the late 70s, early 80s. Was in a rush to get into life, so moved to New York and spent 20 some odd years as a caretaker on a private estate outside of Manhattan, 10 acres. I was Joey the gardener, took care of orchards and rose gardens and flower gardens and all kinds of vegetables and the grounds in the house as well.
So you're the green thumb.
Yep.
What did they say? And then you decided to come back to Kentucky. What did
I
everybody in New York
always-
say about that?
I always knew
And
I
you
was
met,
coming back.
You met Gina
so-
in New York.
Yeah, I conned Gina. I mean, I got Gina to come back with me.
Now what?
With the jar underneath. With your foot.
Ah, well, stop. Yeah.
There you go.
Sure. You want to do it?
Yeah, I want to press. Anything with a button, I want to press, right?
It comes out really fast at first,
Oh, that's
like
so
it's going to
great.
go on and
It's
on
gonna
and
save
on.
so much
Isn't
time.
that wonderful?
Yeah.
Where can I find your stuff if I want to find cantaloupe preserves?
Kroger Shelves right now has it.
Kroger, that's a
We're in
big
60
deal.
stores of Kroger, so.
Which is
That's
neat to
big.
see because big corporations like that are starting to embrace local foods. Obviously, there's demand. I mean, I guess when we're talking about that corporation alone, a year ago, they weren't buying local stuff. So it's kind of neat to see them support local agriculture and what you guys are doing. And I don't know, there's just something about when if I'm going to the grocery store, there's always a jam and jellies aisle. But there's something more unique about a ball can, you know,
Yeah.
screw top lid. That
And
just
we're
kind of
not down
reminds.
the jelly aisle. We are on a 4-sided display.
Oh.
And it's Appalachia Proud,
seen
Kentucky
that.
Proud, Homegrown Heroes.
I've seen that.
So,
I'll have
yes.
to be sure
We're
and
in the
look.
second
next
shelf
time.
down to
It's
the right.
relatively new. Yeah,
Yes.
it's relatively new.
We are not just Kentucky Proud, we are Appalachia Proud, which is part of the 37 Appalachia Proud product. So that allows us a little extra sticker on ours and to show that we're made here in Eastern Kentucky and use the Jackson County kitchen, and where our farm is in Madison County is part of that, those counties as well.
Well, we know that Gina has got to be good at this grueling business because she taught 2-year-olds at one time. Amazing background. Anything new on the horizon?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes,
We
yes.
now are owners of Blue Ribbon Heirloom Tomato Seed Company, a very small seed company that carries heirloom tomato seeds from Kentucky. We're expanding that. We actually have to grow the tomatoes out and collect the seeds and ferment them for next year. So the byproduct will be tomatoes. So we will be here in this commercial kitchen making dried heirloom tomatoes and some other products, maybe even Gina's grandmother from Italy, marinara
There you
sauce.
go.
So
That's what I'm talking
we might
about.
even
Bite
have
us
Gina
back.
and Joey's
I
marinara
will.
sauce. So.
What are we doing here today?
All right, so here's the cooking segment. We talked about canning and preserving and pickling and all that stuff. So let's make pickles, right?
Why not?
You know, it's an easy recipe, but you know, you can't just do one thing on Foods and Chews. You got to do two. So we're gonna
Absolutely.
fry
We're
the pickles.
complicated.
And you know, fried pickles, I think it's kind of one of those regional southern things that people like, and it's so salty, and you know, the
And they're
vinegar
getting
and just
popular.
right. I mean, over salty. So the ones I like, I'm gonna do a quick pickle, so they're not really brined for a long time. They don't take in a lot of the vinegar and salt. It's just like a quick pickle. That way, when you bite in the fried part, it's not overly salty and just too much
okay.
brine. So we're gonna do a quick version that I think is a little bit better, and the cucumber's more fresh. Now, one thing about pickles is people typically, you know, some people might peel their cucumber. So you can do that if you want to, or you can leave the skin on. I kind of like to give it a little bit of a neat shape and just kind of
Oh, a
peel,
striped.
kind of stripe them. Yeah,
A zebra
Gives a neat little presentation,
cucumber.
right? And then, you know, some people like their pickles and spears.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of nice to have just chips, like big fat
Ooh,
chips
can I have a
like
bite?
this. Yeah, you can. A
Raw?
raw cucumber. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Ooh, they're good.
So I'm going to cut a cucumber up
Oh, yummers.
into just fat chips. In the meantime, I'm going to turn this little skillet on, and we're going to make the pickling liquid, right? That, you know, for the
Okay.
cucumber.
That's got a lot of stuff in it.
Yes. So here's another little piece of raw you can have.
This is so good.
We're going to start off with about a cup of water, okay?
Okay.
And then move on to about a cup and a half of white vinegar.
That's the key, right? Because I read about that when I
It is.
researched,
Yeah, that's the pH. That's the acid we're looking for.
That work on
now
that.
the preservation methods. Now, not only does the pH really matter, but you know, food or bacteria can't grow in the presence of salt or sugar either. And this recipe's got both. So, really, really safe. I'm going to do about a cup of sugar here.
Hey, Jer, isn't it interesting that
About half a
preservation
cup
of
of
food
salt.
can either be like freezing,
Yeah.
will kill the bacteria, or heating?
Could kill it, yeah, exactly, yeah.
just like
It's
one or
just
the
kind of
other.
like a life on this planet, right? It has to be in the right temperature zones and the right pH and stuff like that. So we'll give that a little bit of whisk. So we've got our cup of sugar, half a cup of salt, our vinegar, and our water in there, and that's all
You
moving
notice
and
he won't
getting
even let
going.
me stir water.
I like to add a big old bunch of whole garlic cloves.
That's a bunch,
It
too.
is a bunch. And then to that, I like my pickles spicy along with a
I
little
do
bit of
too.
sweet, right?
You're talking, baby.
Crushed red pepper. And then, you know, you could make your own pickling spices. If I wanted to at home, I'd just use some mustard seed.
Can I stir?
Yeah, go ahead. And maybe some bay leaf. And, you know, that's basically all I would use. Maybe some pink peppercorn. I'm going to use just a store-bought pickling spice. You can buy this in a jar. It's already mixed. You know, about 2 tablespoons of that. And if you notice...
Pickling spice.
Right. Now you've got all the spices
And you can
in
buy
there.
that in a store.
Exactly. Now, at this point, you can take the recipe in 2 ways. You can throw the cucumbers in there and kind of cook them a little bit so they're softer. Or do you like a more crunchy cucumber that's like, you know, more on the raw side? Which one do you like?
Crunchy.
Okay, so we're going to keep the cucumbers raw. We're going to leave them like that and go ahead and put them in our little jar. We'll just kind of stack them up in here best we can. And you want to use a bigger jar at home. I'm just kind of doing this for television because we're just making a small portion, right? So once that comes to a boil, which we'll wait for, we're going to pour that mixture on top of this, close it up, throw it in the fridge. A couple of days later, you've got a nice pickle, you know, little fridge pickle. All right, guys, so now it's time for the frying part, right? We've got the pickles. Like I said, you could do short pickle, long pickle, you know, cook pickle, freezer pickle. There's all kinds of ways. But this is a quick little recipe you get at foodnewsandchews.com. And you can just pour these in the fridge and keep them for weeks, or you can, you know, can them and keep them forever, right?
Yeah.
So.
Hey, what I'm interested in, teach me how you bread things and don't keep the breading from falling off when you put it in there.
Oh, perfect question. So the process.
And what is this?
The term when you're talking about breading something is called penne. It's actually like spelled just like the pasta, penne pasta.
Yeah.
But it's the process of flouring, then egg washing, then flouring again, okay? Or, you know, just the whole process of breading and flouring. Now, typically, if I wanted to do just like some chicken or a protein or a vegetable, I would take my pickle and dip it in the egg wash. And the egg wash is just a little bit of milk and egg together. The egg helps it stick, and so does the milk. And then you just roll it in the flour, right?
Right.
Now, that's the normal way. But a fried pickle, there's something about a double breaded fried pickle, right? So what we're going to do is make the batter extra thick because that's what people typically like.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, they like that part as much as the actual
it's all about the crust, right?
Yeah.
So ignore the egg wash part and just do flour.
Okay.
And use separate hands. This one's going to be all dry. And use the flour, right?
See, okay, you got it.
And this one's got to be wet.
I got to write that down.
See, I'm going to go wet here.
You know, when I took piano lessons, they had to keep reminding me which hand to play with.
Right. Egg wash. Now I'm going to roll these in here.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go right back to the flour, right? And then I'm going to use my dry hand for this one. And go right into the skillet.
You know, that's really smart, Jer.
Right. And so wet.
No wonder you're my hero.
And then dry. And then that way you don't get biscuits on your fingers, right?
No. I always have to go wash my fingers off.
Right. So there we go. We got 3 pickles down. Let's do one more with flour and egg wash.
And is part of the key
Flour.
getting this hot before you put them in?
Yeah. You want to, you know, just kind of like
have it just
you're
enough.
frying chicken. They call it, you know, you got to get a good scald on your chicken, right? So I start the pan out relatively hot and get a nice brown, and then just kind of, as you fill up the skillet, the oil automatically cools itself down because you're over, you know,
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
right.
overfilling
You can
it.
see it turning brown.
Right. And you know, the same thing is too, this is a cucumber, it's a pickle, it's already been preserved and cooked, and so to speak, the texture is where I want it. I want to cook it to mush. I just want a crispy outside and it's done, right? So use a fork and kind of dip underneath and see if that one's ready to flip, and it is.
Ooh, these are
Same
good.
thing here. And turn my heat up just a little bit.
I love how we can be sinful and healthful at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything healthy about this other than the fact that we used a fresh vegetable. But you know what? Nowadays, that's actually something
Why
good.
not? It's a little better
Right.
than...
At least we're eating vegetables, even though they're fried. So that being said, I like to serve these with a remoulade sauce.
Okay.
Or something
And is
sweet.
that what this
Remoulade
is?
is what this one is. We're going to put a recipe for remoulade.
And what does that have in it, just to tell us?
It's got a bunch of ingredients, but imagine if we take, say, the celery and pepper and onion and puree that, and then mix it with mayonnaise and capers and pickles and ketchup and mayonnaise and other spices. It's kind of like a Cajun mayonnaise.
Yeah,
And
you can taste that spice.
It was used a lot in New Orleans and in French Creole cooking for like a shrimp remoulade. It'd be like a dressing for raw, not raw, but cooked chilled shrimp.
Okay.
Really delicious stuff, but happens to work great with fried pickles. So these bad boys are done. I'm gonna go right here to the plate.
Don't they look good?
They do. This is just a simple little recipe, right? Not much to this.
Oh, yummers.
Are you ready to eat one?
Yeah,
Let's turn this heat off. You know it's gonna be hot.
I know.
So I'll go for the first one we put down and cut that in half. See, it's still got that crunch. That's what I like.
Oh, yes.
And let's see, we'll just kind of go with our fingers.
Let's do it.
It's a little bit hot, but you know, still good texture in there. Go right in here to the sauce. and-
I forgot the sauce. Oh, let's go with the sauce.
Oh yeah. I love it how they're not over pickled.
I do too. I think this is perfect.
It's almost like, it's like you get that, you're right. It's almost like you got that fresh, healthy vegetable feeling
Feel good
you
about
know,
myself today.
dipped in batter and fried.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's still delicious.
This is good. It's all about nutrition and fun, right?
Well.
You got to enjoy the food. Okay, Jer, thanks for, boy, it's been fun.
No hot.
Been fun. Oh, I know, hot. We'll see you next time.
Food News and Chews is brought to you by these proud sponsors. Alltech, helping farmers feed the world. Azure Restaurant and Patio, worldly influenced, locally inspired. Sullivan University, offering higher education for people with higher goals. Azure Catering, catering the most important events. Yours. Critchfield Meats, fresh, high quality, all natural meats, guaranteed.